So that clip art is about as good as it gets with my photos. It's animated though, so hopefully it keeps you guys entertained. My name is Alison Young. I was an engineering intern for the city of Mountain View, which is a little bit different than an authority or something else, but it was absolutely fantastic. And just right now, I want to say a big thank you to everyone involved. My mentor, MTC, for making it a possible experience. It was fantastic. So I structured my presentation a little bit differently. I realized that while I was working, when I had a job, a lot of people would come up to me, family, friends, like, Allie, what are you doing? Like, she finally has a job. And I was like, oh, I work for the city of Mountain View. And there was always a pause, and then they would go, so what do you do again? And it was I kind of pondered that, and I was like, well, I would ask the same thing about myself. Like, what do I really do? Like, I work in the traffic department of the city of Mountain View, and so I compiled them all together of what the projects I have done. My most favorite would be the 15-mile-per-hour school zone project, which was basically 25, for those of you who can drive, unfortunately, is the speed limit in a school zone. But in the city of Mountain View, we lowered it to 15, more safe, bicyclists, kids walking. So my job was to walk around to help out, kind of see, this area has a sign that needs to be removed. I was the one who kind of helped out with this little team, and we went around, and it was a really, really fun experience, one of my favorite projects. I also dealt with field visits, AKA residents, more specifically upset residents who, had a traffic problem or had something that they wanted fixed. And so I, or with another person, would go out, would find the area or the problem, and then hopefully fix it and not get yelled at in the process. But it was really a very valuable experience. I thoroughly actually enjoyed it. So after this part of the conversation, it usually goes on to, so I have to drive 15 now. But that kind of is almost a reflection of how much the work that I do in the city and the work that the city does itself has such a huge impact on the people around it. This 15-mile-per-hour school project was, I think, came through from the city council, went to the residents went back and forth in like a tennis game, and then it finally trickled down to our department where we finally implemented. And just seeing that example of how you get to drive 15 in a school zone, like everybody has to do it, it really is kind of a reflection off of how much and how important kind of the city work is, and how it really is the bettering of a community through service, through work, and doing what a community needs. So that was something that I found really, really exciting. And then by this point in the conversation, they've kind of got a gist of what I'm about, what I'm doing. They know I'm working. And so they ask, well, do you thinking of going into the public sector? Is this a career path that you want to take? And throughout this entire experience, I haven't had much, obviously, experience in the public sector. I don't even think private sector, a little more familiar with it. But after being in the public sector, I could only come to realize that basically the point of a public sector is the bettering of a community to make I'd walk into work and people would be working on like, oh, I'm doing this project or I'm doing this project, but all had the basis of we are trying to better the community, we are doing these projects to make it safer, to make it more beautiful, to, X, Y, and Z, and that's just something fantastic that I think as the city of Mountain View, we have Google right down the street, and there's always my first day of work, I got this big packet, and we're like, oh, Google wants to slap on bike paths everywhere. We're going to go around and see if we can do it. And just having that experience of working in the public, where yes, it's for people who who need it, to make it safer, to make it so people aren't getting hurt. And then my last thing that I wanted to talk about, the biggest lesson that I've learned, it was my very first day at work. I parked my car in the garage. I was walking upstairs, not upstairs. I walked into the garage, the elevator, and there were all these people walking by me, and they were walking up the stairs, and they kept on walking up the stairs. They kept on walking up the stairs, and I was kind of asking myself, what are they doing? And, I took the elevator shamefully, but then that was the last time I took the elevator because everybody walks up the stairs, and that is a reflection of what this public sector is all about. It's about taking the stairs. It's about taking the hard route up, even when there's an easy route there, because it's about the people there. And I'd just like to say thank you to everyone, again, who made it possible.